Hey there traders, it's Jeff from thestockbandit.com. Thanks for joining me for another free video. So this weekend we're going to take a quick look here at the major averages, take a look at where we stand, what are some important levels, and most importantly, what's going on out there in the market, because we know that's going to impact how the individual stocks move. They're all going to kind of move with the tide along with the overall market. So we begin our analysis for the week there, and then we proceed into some specific trade ideas. Now, last week we did finally see a resolution to this trading range that we had been in for the last few weeks. Now for the NASDAQ, that was a slightly higher trading range than this previous trading range, whereas a few of the other indices were in one main range this entire 5-week period. So for the NASDAQ, we got through the lower end of this range. You'll recall that Wednesday evening, Cisco had some negative news that was kind of combined with some other news Thursday morning, which produced this sizable gap to the downside on Thursday. We had some continuation to the downside there, and this level right here was the 36.24 level. We got through that on Thursday morning. We got just a couple of points above that, and then we respected it again on Friday. Now Friday this index was only down about 3 points, and we saw a quieter volume along with that. It was technically a little bit of follow through selling though, so we've now seen a little 3-day losing streak here for the NASDAQ, and you have to go all the way back here into June to find one of those for this index. But for now, we're back beneath short-term support. We've got this next level down here, which is this 35.73 level. That was the low here in the latter part of July. And then beneath that, we have this unfilled gap right here that extends from about 35.52 down to 35.20. So we've got a few levels here to keep a close eye on the way down. Again, this first one, 35.73, followed by this gap that goes all the way down to 35.20. So there's a look at the NASDAQ. Now, should we happen to turn back up, I would expect to see this gap right here pose as some resistance, as anyone who got sort of caught in this downdraft now is looking at this as, maybe a potential double top here, or at least a temporary high in the market. So now they're going to most likely view some bounces as some opportunities to lighten up on positions. So just be aware of that. We have seen a little bit of a character change here. Moving on to the S&P 500, this index was caught in this 5-week trading range, and we saw a nice solid break below that on Thursday as this index undercut this 1671 level that's been in place for a number of weeks, going back here into mid-July. And then we saw a little bit of follow through on Friday, another 0.5% lower, as this index gave up a little bit more ground to finish at 1653. Now, we did see some volume start to pick up along with that as well, and that really just kind of points to the importance of this technical break here for the S&P. Now we do have some minor gaps here on the way down. This first one right here was 1652 from July 10th was pretty much met on Friday. So we've kind of filled that gap for now, but there are some other smaller ones on the way down that I think that we can keep a close eye on. Those would be at about 1640 and then about 1631. And so just kind of keep a close eye on that. We had this kind of swift move higher here in early July. Now we're going to start seeing if we can retrace a little bit of that. If we do happen to rebound back up, I'd keep a close eye on 1671. That's where we broke down from, so we may rally back up and kind of fail at that level. We'll have to see. Or we may get back through it and start to work on this minor gap from Wednesday's close to Thursday's open. So I would keep a very close eye on that. For the Russell 2000, this index had made a significant move higher off of this November low last year, also off of the June low. It went from 942 to 1063. That was the August high. Now, the main range, though, has been right here, 1056 down to 1036. We only saw about 3 days of a close above that, but the bulk of the trading in the last 5 weeks or so has been between these two levels, 1036, 1056. Now we're through that to the downside. We closed at 1024 on Friday. We're starting to fill this gap right here down to 1020. If we do so, then the next level to watch is going to be right back here, this 1008 level that was the high back here in May. So we're kind of in retrace mode. Let's see if we do rebound back up, how this 1036 level gets treated. followed by how this gap gets filled, whether or not it does. That extends up to Wednesday's close at 1047. Then finally is the Dow, and this index actually was the first to break down. Typically we don't see the Dow as a leadership index. It is the most well known on Main Street, but in terms of traders and placing importance on it, this is only 30 stocks, and so it's really difficult to place heavy importance on it. But nonetheless, we saw this index undercut support here on Wednesday and then see some significant follow through into Friday's close. Now, this index also has spent the bulk of its trading here between 15,400 and 15,600. We did see a couple closes above 15.6, but we weren't able to hold it, and this has really been the range for the Dow until this past week on Wednesday, when we did close beneath 15.4 for the first time in several weeks and then continue lower. Now, the next level to really keep a close eye on is right down here. That's about 14,887. That was the high right back here in April. So it could be that we're coming in for a test of that area, and that's certainly not too far away given the pace of this decline. Again, I would expect to see the next rebound get met with some selling, so we'll pay very close attention to that. If you're looking for some trade ideas to add to your own, stop by the site at thestockbandit.com. We do offer a trial. Check it out. Love to show you what we're all about. Thanks again for joining me for this video. I will have more for you soon, but until then, trade like a bandit.